Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm really sorry about the delay. There was a bit of a technical difficulties happening here, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing this series, so that you can also learn about today's things. And today, specifically, we are speaking about blockchain. And we were waiting for a few participants because the registration count was really high, and we thought they were planning on joining, but somehow we are going to go ahead with the current situation and see how it goes on, because this series is also being right now being also broadcast online on Facebook, so that is something you can stick to also when it comes to if you want to watch it again later on, you can definitely go there and watch. And the format of the program, as you must be already familiar about, is we will be speaking with the entire session will be 1 hour long, and at the first part, our speaker will be speaking about the topic, and then later on we'll be also going ahead for a Q&A session, which will be 15 minutes. So you can either type your questions on the chat, or also you can also raise your hand, virtually on Zoom, and ask your questions on the platform itself. So today, since we are speaking about this particular topic about blockchain, now if I tell you a little bit about blockchain, is that blockchain, when you speak about data security and also speaking about restaurant transaction security, digital security online, is one of the main things that are emerging, technologies that are emerging when it comes to securing and giving you the feeling of security and of the technology behind it, in a way that you can feel okay about having transactions and communicating online with your friends. I mean, it can be a small device such as a mobile phone, it can be an ATM machine, it can be a computer, but at the end, it's all about decentralizing these activities so that you don't have to depend completely on one device, because everything is diversified and also distributed, including security. So that's the biggest aspect which we are talking about today when it comes to today's session. And the speaker is also an expert in this industry, and he is the co-founder and the chief executive officer at the Niftron, blockchain consultant advisor for multiple organizations and startups. He also has 4+ years of experience in the decentralized application solution architect and development as well. Holds a MSc in Big Data Analytics from the Robert Gordon University, Scotland, and Bachelor of Engineering in Software Engineering from the University of Westminster in the UK. He's also a certified blockchain solution architect as well. So that explains the entire reason why we have chosen this person today to speak about this specific topic, blockchain, because it requires an expert. And that's how we got Sharmilan on board today. Sharmilan, it's up to you to address everybody who's joining in today about blockchain with a great introduction about what it is and what it entails later on.
Yeah, hi everyone. I hope you can see as well as the audio is clear, right?
Yeah, all good.
Sure. Thanks for the intro, Varuna, and thanks to everyone for joining us today. And hope it will be a good session and a good knowledgeful session for you guys to get to know about like what is blockchain and what is actually how it's redefining the trust and in different aspects like individuals, applications, and products and projects that you're building on. And it won't be that much technical session, but it will be more like a high-level overview that we'll be giving to you. And because of the time constraints and different things, we are giving you a high-level intro about like what is blockchain and how it's redefining the trust, and most importantly, like why we need blockchain. So that is the thing that I like to cover in today's session. And let me share the screen, and then we can start from there.
Yes, 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay, should be good.
I hope you all can see the screen. If not, please let me know. Varuna, is it visible, right?
Yeah, okay, yes. Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I hope all of you know the title like blockchain and our refined trust on application, products, and humans. So we'll be actually going to look into like how blockchain is transforming each of these three things, like applications, products, and humans. And before that, like the word trust. So we'll be just go a bit about history to know about like how humans are building trust, and then why blockchain is important to redefine this trust, and first of all, like why we need to redefine the trust. So that will be give you overall idea like why we need blockchain and the impact and the effect that blockchain can bring into the individual lives as well as products and applications that we're doing. So that will be give you the base or the fundamental to know why we need blockchain and what is blockchain. So I'll start with that. And as you all know, like the industrial revolutions that we came from the past, and like it's initially started like we have like four phases of industrial revolutions. And the first one is like it started in 1.0, which is like in 17th centuries, most about like steam power, steam engines and all. And then 18th centuries, we are more into the electricity came, and then we are more into the electricity and electricity based products and productions. And then the 19th century, so especially like late of 1960s or early 1970s, we were moving to the industry 3.0, which is like more towards computers, automations, and gadgets and different electronic items. And now we are into the industry 4.0, so which is like not only about gadgets and computers or electronics, but it's more towards like connecting each and every part of those devices and electronics to generate more data, as well as make that integration through networks, IoT devices, and then once you can able to make these connections, then we can do more things than just keeping it as a single devices or single items. And that is more about the industry 4.0, and it's involved IoT specifically, and then it's involved the networks, and then 5Gs and cyber security side, and as well as the blockchain is also one of the part in the industry 4.0. So if you see it as an evolution, like I mean, after the technologies changes and things, so like the innovations happens and all, like throughout this past period of time, as you can see from this industry 1.0 to 4.0, we have changed so many things that we do in the day-to-day lives. So specifically, like if you take as Netflix, like it's changed the way that we watch movies. So previously, like those eras, like people used to go to movie theaters to watch the movies, and then like we got televisions, and then we got like cassette pieces, and now we have like Netflix, where we can just go and just we can watch whatever movie we want at our own comfort place and with the people that we want to watch. And the same way, like Amazon was changed initially the way we buy products. So previously we need to go to shops and buy it, but now we can just do a button clicks and the products will come to our doorsteps. And Uber changed the way that we travel. Instead of going to find a cab, it's like we can just find a cab through our mobile apps, and then the cab still comes and we can go to wherever destination that we want. And Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, and these type of things will change the way that we communicate and connect with different part of the world and different part of the people in the world, and that is make us able to talk or able to connect anyone in the world that has the one mobile or a laptop with the internet connection. And Uber Eats recently, like we can see like it's changed the way that even we eat the foods, like when the way we buy the foods. Like previously we had to either cook or we had to go and buy the foods, but now like we can just have one mobile app and we can order whatever food we want from whatever the restaurants we want, and it will be comes to our doorstep. So as we see like every part of our lives, like if you just take a step back and if we can think like most of the parts of our life were changed, and even like if you at least if you're like in 25 or 26 age, like you can see like the things that you're doing now, it's totally different than how you did it like before 10 or 15 years, and it's everything is evolving and changing. But there are some aspects of a life that if we can take like that is never changed. So there are certain things that we can see like it's not changed in our lives, as well as if we go back and see it's never changed in the previous eras as well. So it's like the same thing that we are doing from like kind of stone age to still, and those things are like never changed, and that those are things like more we call it as the base of human lives, or the things or characteristics that humans basically follows and align with. So one of the such thing is trust. So the way we trust people, or else the way we build trust with someone, is it's same as how it was there in uh, stone ages or the old like 17th century, so 18th century, where we take after that different type of industrial revolution happens, the way we build trust with another individual, or else we build trust with the application or a product, it's never changed. And they have made it different ways to trust in each industry revolutions, but I'll explain that part later. But there's a core part that is never changed. And like trust, there are some other aspects also in our human lives that's never changed. But the most important part for us in today's topic is about blockchain and trust. So we'll be go more into that trust part. If we take this the importance of trust, so why I'm talking about trust and why we need uh, to more specified on trust and why it's need to be redefined. The first thing is human lives are based on trust. So whatever like aspect of your life you take it, you can simply go to the root is as trust. So even if you're building a relationship with anyone, the best thing is you have to have a trust on them. So building a trust will take some time, but as long as you build that trust, then only you can have a proper relationship with anyone. And the same as if you do businesses. So when you do businesses, like business to business, there should be a trust. And then like business to clients, there need to be a trust, and business to consumers, there need to be a trust. And same as like when there's a manufacturing company or a factory that they are making products or doing productions, they have to build that trust with their clients or the consumers who are buying these products. And when we use these like digital eras, like when you're using these different type of applications or mobile apps, web apps and all, these applications need to build that trust with their customers or the users. You can see like we have so many trust issues with applications when it comes like recently we have seen like Google issues, the data privacies and Facebook. So different companies go into these issues because of the the trust that they have on their customers, or the customers that have they built a trust on these products. And when we and it's not only about building that trust, but it's about like keeping that trust consistently. So once you build that trust, it's very easy to lose that trust. And how long we can keep that trust is most important. So that's why companies and the products and different applications, you can see they build the brands and all. So people will be attached to that brand and they build the trust on that brand. And then whatever things comes out of that brand, people will trust that because not because the trust they have on that particular product, but they have the trust they have on the brands. And same as when we do transactions, like it can be money transactions, so it can be asset transactions. We have trust on the people who are receiving these things, as well as the receiver need to have trust on the people who are sending these things. So all these things, like we can see, like these are some aspects of our lives, but there are more things that if we can see, like it's all based on the trust. And human lives are more towards like humans are derived, or humans are align their lives, so align whatever they do in their lives mostly based on the trust. And it's the most expensive thing in the world, and it can take years to earn trust with the applications or individuals or products, and it's just a matter of seconds to lose it. And it's not only about individuals, but if you take it as a companies or businesses or products or applications, they always follow this path. And that's where they try different things, like they write different programs to connect with their customers and build the trust, as well as they do brandings and different mechanisms to build this trust and keep that trust as consistent. So we'll see like how the trust is evolved, because we can see like the way we eat foods, with the way we watch movies, the way we travel, the way we connect with people, it's all changed. But how trust changed from these, like at least if we can take from industry 1.0 to 4.0, how the trust evolved. So those days, like when we take like, I mean, if you can take the tribe ages or the stone ages, like those times the people always lives as bunches or the groups, like a closed circle, and they trust only the people who are in that circle. And if there's another type of tribes or other type of people who are living in another part, if they want to connect to each other, usually the people don't trust, and they only trust the people in that closed circle. And then there will be two kind of groups, and if they want to interchange something, or if they want to communicate, or if they want to build that trust, there's no way that they can build the trust, because they have a closed circle in that. Only they trust the people who are inside the circle, and they don't trust anyone outside, and they keep it as strangers. So what they did was like they usually find someone either from one group, or else it's some third party that we call it as a middleman. And these groups actually don't trust the other group, but the group A trusts the middleman, as well as the group B also trust the middleman. So as they have the trust on this middleman, they do this transaction through that person, and it works perfectly at that time. But when the people who started to like expand the numbers, in the numbers they expand, as well as the places they go and different countries, and they identify different communities and all, the people were like more diverse, and the groups were like started to split. So people were started to come as individuals, and they started to not have lived as a groups, but they started to live as individuals. So this time, what the issue is like, it's very difficult to keep a one person to make that trust with so many groups or so many individuals in the world. So what happens is that's where the businesses or the organizations comes. So one such organization we can keep it as banks. So previously, like humans made the money transactions through a middleman, but then they made the money transaction through still a middleman, but it converted as a single individual to a business or the organization. And they here also like the other group or other individual trust these banks, and the other individual, the individual A trust bank and individual B trust bank, and then they do the transactions because they have trust on the bank and they don't have individual trust. But then the digital era comes where the industry 3.0, the gadgets and mobile applications, web applications started to come. Then it's all converted as virtual ones. So we need something in virtual to make this trust. So people are like more like individual to individual trust. They want to build it than building a trust with the community and then trust it, because people were like started to not trust each other in their groups also. So they were like more towards individual to individual. And what happens is we started to trust the applications. So instead of trusting, and when it comes to digital, people are moving to the web apps and digital things, and it's very difficult to build that trust, because in a physical world, it's very difficult to build, means in the digital world, it's even more difficult to build that trust with these applications or individuals. So that's where the applications started to come, like still you're buying a food from a restaurant, which maybe you don't know or you've never been to there, but still you are trusting that shop and you're buying the products because you have the trust on the app called Uber Eats. And someone who you never met bringing that food, but you still have the trust on that person because you're trusting not that individuals or the entities, but you're trusting the applications. So the applications comes as a middleman, and they started to bring that trust and bridge that gap between the two strangers basically. And using that app, we can still able to make transactions or buy things or whatever. We can still able to do it based on the trust that we have. And same as Facebook or all those things, what comes as a middle organizations that bring the trust on a central party or central point, and that will be that will provide a path for two unknown parties to connect and make these transactions or connect and make deals or do businesses or whatever we want, even build relationships, whatever we want, we can do it based on the trust that we have on that applications. But only one thing that we can see, it's never changes this middleman. It's evolved actually, like it started from a single person to organization to application, but still that middleman role is still exists, and the way we do it is different, but still that middleman role is exists. So how, if we do something where the middleman is not exist, and the entity A and entity B, so it can be individual to individual, or it can be business to individual, or business to business, or whatever. If you have two entities, that they can build trust and make transactions or buy products or even build relationships without trusting a middleman or trusting another entity. So if we can do that to each other, that will be a different level of evolution, and that will be bring more new opportunities, because two strangers in the world can talk and trust it, and we don't need another party comes in between us, and that will be easy in many ways. Like one is it's cut down the commissions and things we have to pay for them, and it's just a direct transaction that we can make it. And there are so many applications like this, and there are so many researchers done on these things, how we can build this trust and all, and almost everything was failed until when the blockchain comes. So what blockchain did was like, what blockchain doing was actually, it's building a trust between two untrusted parties, and without a middleman. Because all the applications before blockchain tried to do this were failed, because either they tried to build this trust, but they failed on securities where the third parties comes and hack these things and break this trust on that application or that project. And there are sometimes there's a lack of transparency what's happening inside, and most of the times they build it as a centralized applications where we rely on a central application, but still we can build trust without that party's control, but still we are relying on some application or some central party. If they don't exist, then these transactions won't happen. So what blockchain did was it started to provide a technology revolution or evolution on trust, the way that we can build trust with the other person, and most importantly, we can keep that trust consistent. So there won't be a issue will comes like you can build a trust now, and then after a period of time, that trust won't be there. Then it's kind of a issue for the people to build this long-term trust. So what blockchain does is provide a way that you can build an instant trust and you can keep it consistently for so long, and especially with the strangers that you never met or never know, and you can just do it through online, and you can able to transfer any type of assets that you want. So in other words, if you can put it, you can through blockchain, you can able to transfer valuable assets to an untrusted party in a trusted way. So valuable assets means it can be a not only money, it can be a data, or it can be a land transfer, so it can be a casting of votes in elections, it can be a way that you can store records like certificates or medical records, so it can be a way that you can store your driving license. So it can be any type of a valuable data or valuable asset that you want to transfer to untrusted party in a trusted way. That is what actually blockchain is doing, and that is what blockchain is providing to us. So the history of blockchain, if it comes, like it's not something that started recently. So it has a long history. Like we can see like 2008, 2009 period where the blockchain, it's not called as blockchain at that time, but they were trying to do the base of technology of blockchain is called cryptography. So they did so many researches based on cryptography, and then like it's a long period from 1991 to 2009, and it's almost everything was like come to a point, and then like it's not succeed. But when 2009 Satoshi releases the Bitcoin white paper, so it's an interesting story because we call the founder of blockchain or founder of Bitcoin is Satoshi Nakamoto, but it's actually a name that we referred, but no one ever saw this person, and the identity is never revealed. And people still don't know, like it's released after like 12, 11, almost like 11 years, and still no one knows whether it's actually a person or an entity or in a government or a country. No one knows that. But we refer it as the founder of blockchain or the Bitcoin is Satoshi Nakamoto. So Bitcoin, like people, and other things like people always misunderstood as Bitcoin as blockchain and blockchain as Bitcoin, but it's two different things. Blockchain is the base technology, and Bitcoin is one of the use cases that are running on top of blockchain. So likewise, there are different type of cryptocurrencies running in the world, like there are 100 plus cryptocurrencies, and all of these things are running on top of blockchain as a base technology. And there are different applications. So cryptocurrencies are one set of use cases. There are supply chains, there are medical, there are some governments also running on top of a blockchain. We'll see those things later part of the presentations. So all of these things that comes as separate use cases that are running on top of a base technology called blockchain. And after 2010, Bitcoin was released, and it's got like started to getting popular in 2011-12 period of times, and then like 2013, it's got more popular, and then that time where things were started to change. Previously it was only used for money transactions, but in 2014, Vitalik Buterin, so who is the Ethereum blockchain founder, he released a white paper, and 2015 they launched the Ethereum blockchain. So until that, blockchain is only used for money transactions only as a one use case. But after 2015, the Ethereum was released. Ethereum's concept is not only if you can able to transfer money between two untrusted parties, same thing you can do for data, so whatever you want through contracts. So that's where the smart contract term came, like as same as the physical contracts that we have, we can put it as the smart contracts and in the blockchain, and we can able to do these transactions, or we can able to make any decisions. So if you are logged into an application that you never know, but still you can use smart contracts to log in to that applications, and you can perform actions in that applications, and other person can still trust you because you are a user who comes through this blockchain part, and you access through the smart contract. So everyone knows that there can't be any logic changes or smart contract code changes. So through that, they can build that instant trust with two untrusted parties as application to clients or users to users or business to business. And 2016 and 17 is where the Ethereum went to peak, and then like nowadays, like it's more towards like the other use cases, and actually the blockchain technology take more control and more popular than the cryptocurrencies, because we are building more type of real world applications in on top of blockchain, and we are doing more other use cases than the cryptocurrency. So the cryptocurrency phase was like still there, but it was more famous until 2017, and after that, like it's more towards the application era is started. So how blockchain works? So we can see that it's building a trust and between two untrusted parties. So let's see like how it's building that trust. So for example, like if I'm having a 100 rupees note, so we can take it as a simple use case, or a user story that we can take it as all of us were like sitting in a room or a event hall, and we are doing this meetup, or we are doing this webinar. What will happens is like if I want to transfer 100 rupees to someone in that auditorium, in that room, if I never met, and if it's almost a stranger for me. So how I can do it is I can do it in different ways. Like one is I can just go to that person and give the money, but then like there are chances the person can come another day and say that he didn't receive the money, or else I can go and say that I gave more than what I want to give. So there's a kind of a conflict. So what we usually do it is we always go for a third party. So I can take another person, and then I can go to another separate room or outside of the hall, and we between three of us, I'm doing this transition, making this transition to Mr. X. And then if Mr. X comes anytime, say like, okay, he didn't receive that money, then I can simply rely on the third party and ask him like as evidence, or comes as a proof for these transactions. But there are chances mistakes can simply convince that third person, and then they both can come together and say that okay, they didn't receive that money. So then like I'll be like have no other ways, and I have to give it again, or it will be great conflicts again. But let's imagine like if I do this transition in front of all of the people in that auditorium. So if you can take let's like 50 or 100 people, if I'm transferring that 100 rupees in front of everyone, then there are 100 people who are receiving these transitions, like seeing through and hearing through their ears and storing in their brains. So if mistakes comes tomorrow and say that he didn't receive that money, then I can bring 100 people as evidences. And at the same time, if mistakes wants to convince some people to uh, say that okay, he didn't receive that money or comes into his side, then he need to spend so much of time to convince these people, and maybe he need to bribe these people and spend so much of time and money to convince at least 51% of the people. That means the majority of the people. So if you have 100 people, like 51 people need to agree that Mr. X didn't receive the money. So then only the conflict is started. So as you can see that as much as people knows about these transactions, the conflict or creating a conflict in the transactions is getting reduced, because more people we need to convince, or else more people we need to bribe to make this thing to happen, as faking a transaction or telling us a transaction is never happened. It's coming as more difficult. So as it's difficult from one person to 100 people, what blockchain is doing is it's once you do some transactions, it's simply broadcasting that to millions of users. So that means all the amount of all the nodes we call it as. So there are billions of nodes for blockchains in blockchains like Bitcoin and Ethereum in the world. And all of these nodes means like it comes as a basically a computer. You can simply say it as a computer or a mobile phone, which a person can get a data or the information about what transaction happens in the other side. So they store it in the ledgers, so which is similar like a database, as you can refer. So they can store it in their own databases. So all these billions of nodes will have their own databases, and they store this transaction in their database. So when this transaction happens, simply that transaction will be like, it will be like, just imagine as a nodes, it will be just go to the mistakes, and that transaction will be recorded in each of these nodes databases. So once this transaction is recorded in each of these nodes, creating a conflict comes as a biggest issue, because you have to at least go and convince, or go and not means convince, you go and change the records in this 500 million of nodes. At least if there are 1 billion of the Bitcoin nodes, you have to change at least 500 million of nodes or machines to agree that this transaction has never happened, or you have to update the transaction. So identifying 500 million of nodes where located in the world is very difficult, and updating, go to that machines, and you have to actually hack these machines, go to that databases, and then updating those databases is comes as the other difficult part. And there are different security mechanisms in blockchain. I'm not going to go in depth, though it will be like too much technical on that, but I'll give you an ideas like there are cryptographic algorithms is used, which will make you more difficult to know what the transactions are going and more difficult to update these transactions. And this other set of things comes as consensus algorithms and minings, so which will be create more time consuming and more difficult to update these transactions. And there are different security mechanisms in blockchain. I think I had some connection issue. Yeah, I hope now it will be fine. Yeah, as we have like billions of nodes, it comes as very difficult to hack these 500 million of nodes. And even if someone hacking that, there are different type of layers of security they have to go through, like cryptographies and consensus algorithms, minings and all. And going through that and breaking this blockchain, it comes as very difficult. And as the blockchain has only been there for 11 years and still many people try to hack it, but no one successfully done it because of these restrictions and all. So this is basically like how blockchain works. And blockchain has different type of characteristics, such as one is basically trust. So it's building that trust. And the second one is ownership, where you can able to transfer ownership to another person. So if you have your money, you can simply transfer to another person. Same as if you have uh, a house or a vehicle, you can simply transfer the ownership, as you can create a representation in the blockchain, and you can simply transfer that through contracts, and then they can receive those things with the blockchain proofs and verifications. And you can do smart verifications like who owns what kind of assets or what kind of money, and then who transferred to whom. So you can easily able to do these verifications, and and without any third party involved. So that is the most important thing that blockchain did, was like it's completely remote third party. And and blockchain itself, it's an application, but it won't comes as a third party because it's not running in a central place. So it's even you can run blockchain nodes. So that means anyone can become a node runner, and that means that it's decentralized and there's no central parties controlling that. And transaction speed is usually it's high, but when it comes to Bitcoin blockchains, it's usually take like 30 to 45 minutes to make a transaction. But there are blockchains like Stellar, Ethereum, where you can do transactions even in 3 to 5 seconds. But even in Bitcoin, like it takes 30 to 45 minutes, but it's more convenient because if you are transferring like around 1 million USD from a USA to Sri Lanka, like you have to go through the banks, and then it takes so much of approvals, regulations, and so much of time to transfer that money. But in Bitcoin, like if you can even able to transfer it in 30 to 45 minutes, that is more advanced than the current systems. And security is high because two reasons we can say: because of the technology, the way they build it, and second thing is still no one is hacked. And there's no downtime because Facebook can be down, Google can be down, or any system that we're using currently can be down because they are either central storages or a central hosted, or else they are hosted in multiple regions, and there are chances it can be down. But why blockchain can't be down? Because it's not hosted in like a number of places, but it's hosted in like billions of nodes and billions of machines. And if you want to take it down blockchain, the only way that you can take it down is like you have to cut the whole electricity for the world. And at least if there are two machines running with electricity, then still they can make this blockchain transaction happens. So that is one of the advantages. And it's highly anonymity because when you're creating a blockchain account or anything, you don't need to specify your email addresses or mobile numbers or any personal details. They don't ask any single detail about you. You just go to Bitcoin or Ethereum and any blockchain, you can just click a button, clicks, you'll be get a public and a private key. And that is only the identity that you have. So your identity is not attached with the public and private key. It's just a number, it's just a string with the number of with the numbers and the characters, so no one can even understand that. And hacking a data bridge is very difficult, as I mentioned, because of this security as cryptographies and the way they build these transactions. So altogether, all of these things were started to bring the hype, and people actually didn't understand that blockchain is a technology to reinvent the trust, but they were more keep it as blockchain is a technology to reinvent the transactions and money, because it started with crypto. And after 2015, 16, 15, after the Ethereum, and only then people started, okay, it's just more potential like internet than just keep it as a money transaction tool. And for now, like you can see these stats like 2018, 19, the 2020 surveys, they were like 55% of the companies were like, and it's growing, as you can see, like 55% of the companies were keeping blockchain as a top 5 strategy priorities, and like there are 88% of the companies were like scaling or eventually like achieve mainstream adoption as a blockchain. And more of the executives and like organizations are moving towards blockchain, at least in a phase of R&D and building these basic applications. And the reason like organizations like, or why organizations, so the entities are moving, is because as we see like trust, we have talked about trust. So trust is the base of whether it's a startup, organization, government, non-profit, or even education. We can see that like in startups, they want to build this trust with their clients. And when it comes to organizations, they want to build trust with their other businesses or else their customers. When it comes to non-profits, they need to build the trust with their donors. So if the donors trust the non-profit only, they will give these fundings. And when it comes to education, they need to build the trust with their students, with the parents, and also then only they can like sustain for a so long time. And governments, they need to build a trust with the citizens. If their citizens don't have trust on the governments, either they'll be failed or else they won't be elected. So trust is the base component for any type of organization in the world. And that's the one important thing. Blockchain is adopted by most of the organizations currently, whether it's the enterprise level business or whether it's a small scale business or the medium scale business. And all of these things can be ranged to different types of applications, whether it's a banking, healthcare, transportation, telecom, media, whatever. But blockchain still can be applied because blockchain can be fit in any places where the trust is based, because you can simply reinvent the way you build trust. And I'll go through some of the use cases that you can easily relate and see like how blockchain can be used in these kind of use cases. So one of the important use cases is like supply chain. So supply chain is more famous use case in blockchain. There are so many supply chain, blockchain-based supply chain applications. So they are for different type of products, like from fishery to dairy products, and then like agri products, pharmaceutical products, automobiles, hardware. So they are used blockchain-based supply chain in different type of products. And one of the things that we can take it as a use case is a food supply chain. So for example, like food supply chain, like you can see like it has multiple parties involved in this and multiple entities or organizations involved in this. And it's like a huge level of trust we have to maintain in between these parties, as well as overall trust in between those parties will become as the final trust, where the consumer building the trust with the product. So when we say like, okay, we are making some fruit juices or something, like a factory is producing fruit juices, they initially get some fruits or oranges from a farm. So the farmer can produce these oranges, and farmer can enter different details about the oranges, like when they seed it, when they harvested it, what are the if it is a non-organic one, what are the fertilizers they use? If it is an organic one, they can attach their organic certificates inside that, and they can put different types of data inside. And at one point, they harvest it and they'll be transport that to a factory or a warehouse. So once it's moved towards the factory, they simply what I mean is they can enter the data means they can enter these data into blockchain as using their public keys. So that means that the public keys will be represented directly to a farmer. So we know that farmer can only able to enter these data because he is the only one to have access to that key. And they can attach the different certificates like organic certificates. And once it's moved to factory, then from that factory can able to enter different processing data. So the way they handle these products. And when they make these oranges into juice bottles, they can simply able to split these juice bottles inside the blockchain itself, and they can transport that through a vehicle to maybe a different part of a country. So when they're transporting it, they can simply get the temperature that they're maintaining in that vehicle, and which is the driver and what is speed they're maintaining. So they can simply connect with IoT devices, and they can transport into the consumer as a supermarkets or stores. So the stores also can able to add data like when the product is arrived and when they place it in the shelves and all. And as a user, when you go to the shop, you'll be get a juice bottle, and the juice bottle can contain a QR or a barcode. So when you can scan using a mobile app, you can simply see this whole story. So it's more like a product telling the story, like where it came from and how it came from, and who cleaned that and who made these as a juice and the processes it made. And you can see all this information up to the farm. So you may have a question of like why we need blockchain here, because you can simply achieve these things through database as well. Like you can put these things in a database and you can simply able to achieve this. But the problem comes is the databases where comes as a central party controlling the database. So at least it can be controlled by a factory, or it can control by a end product, the stores, or it can be controlled by a manufacturing company. So someone will be control these applications to enter these data. And the other side, the worst case is like at least the developers have access to these databases, and database admin will be there who can simply go and modify these informations. So what the advantage if you're using blockchain is there's no one can able to control the data that is entered. So for example, if the farm is entering data, he harvested it on November, but the factory, the manufacturers want that to be on September or something, they can still do it. If it's a database, they can just drive it, or they can just ask the database admin to modify it. But if it is happening in blockchain, they can't do anything because the data is entered already, and that is entered by the farmer, and no one can able to change once anything is entered to blockchain or anything happens on blockchain. And that's where the trust is coming, because if I go to a shop and if I can simply scan a barcode and I can see a product story, it's nicely printed, then I won't build that trust, because I know like how these applications build it and how these data will be transferred. So I can simply get into a mindset, okay, the factory or the manufacturer is trying to manipulate me, and like they were like just putting nice details about these products to come to at this level. So then I'll be trying to buy. So I won't build that trust because it's only comes from a central application or a central party. But when it comes to blockchain, I can simply build that trust because I know that no one can able to change these informations, and I can trust what I'm seeing. So that is the most important thing. So if it is a central database, whatever you see, you don't have any way to prove it that whether it happens or not. But in blockchain, whatever you see, you can simply go and verify it on blockchain whether actually this is happening. So it's something that the business wants to push the data to me. So then I can prove that, okay, this is what happens, and what I'm seeing is the thing that actually happens in the farm. So that's where the trust is coming on top of the product as well as on the brand. So you don't need to have a super brand to make me trust on the products, but you are a new startup, but still you're using a blockchain and you're putting these kind of information. I'll be simply trust that because it's a trust that I can build on top of that information. What I'm seeing is actually what happens. The other use case is medical use cases. So this is also a popular one apart from supply chain and cryptocurrency. Like blockchain used in different aspects of the medical applications, like such as medical records, and it's used in uh, pharmaceutical supply chains, as we've seen, and it's a medical records can be used in different type of medical records, such as uh, personal medical records, where you can just store your medical data into blockchain. You can able to simply transfer those informations. And the other thing is like you can use medical records as a research or the clinical trials where they want to store these sensitive research information without storing in a database or a physical information. They can simply store it in blockchain and transfer it. And there are medical insurance currently happening on top of blockchain. So all these things were uh, used on top of a blockchain to build it, and they were like successful ones. So these are the ones, the cases I'm mentioning as already used, and people are using it day-to-day lives, and even some of the things were tried out in Sri Lanka as well. So apart from these use cases, one of the interesting case I can tell you, like that is related to medical as well. Like I'm not sure like how many people knows about the country called Estonia. So which is a country that is running totally based on blockchain. So they have medical records on blockchain. They don't have physical cash. They have like all the monies will be in digital through blockchain, and they have the land records, so vehicle records, vehicle registrations, so business registrations. Everything happens on top of blockchain. They don't have a physical document, so they call it as e-Estonia, where everything is electronic. There's no physical documents, and even the interesting case was like even a baby is born, like they take this baby to a place where they can generate these keys for that person, the baby, and that will be attached to the father and the mother, and then like from that day onwards, like whatever medication or the surgeries or whatever things, vaccinations, even like whatever things the baby is taking will be recorded on blockchain. And when it comes to education, so all the certificates will be attached to blockchain. And when the baby is like come to a stage, the graduation is happening, that will be attached to the blockchain. And when that person buys a vehicle or house, will be attached to blockchain. And even your bank accounts will be attached to blockchain. So your taxes will be automatically get it, because there's no physical cash here, so everything should be on electronic. And even like if you do a crime, that also will be attached to blockchain. So every record from every phase of your life will be attached to that particular key. And even if you're going in Estonia, like any interviews or something, most of the places they ask for Estonian citizens to not to share CVs, but just to share that key with the access privileges for particular information like educations and things. So they just go and verify it, because they can see that what they're saying is the correct one. They don't need to double check it, because it's come from the blockchain. And even they have a government that is running based on blockchain, where the elections happens on top of blockchain. So you can be on election day, like you can be on any country, any part of the world, and you can simply go to the web applications and you can simply cast your vote. And the election, once its election is on, like from 12 to 3 p.m. And once the 3 p.m. is done, like 3-1, you'll be get the election results, because it's all electronic, and it's happening through blockchain, and everyone knows that no one can change those information, so no one can stop someone to vote it, because it comes as a decentralized ones. And they have so many advanced systems through blockchain, and it's just I'm giving these ideas so you can just go and explore more. But the reason I'm giving these ideas, like you can see the potential of blockchain, as it can be used to run a whole country based on a particular technology. So that is the potential or the scalability that blockchain is having. And apart from this, like blockchain is used in many use cases, such as charity, energy, real estate, transport, music. So different aspect of the use cases used, and now we can relate like one of the use cases is cryptocurrency. So there are different type of use cases, and even in Sri Lanka specifically, like we have blockchain based supply chains, so the organic vegetables and organic products. We have blockchain based charity fund applications, the non-profit fundraising platforms. We have blockchain based certificate platforms where you can issue certificates through blockchain, and that is like directly going to the students or the receivers and the HRs, or anyone who can simply verify those things. And we have blockchain based ticketing platforms where you can book event tickets through blockchain-based platforms, and there are some other applications building recently, like those are like kind of social media platforms, and different levels of blockchain applications are coming from Sri Lanka. So that is the level like how Sri Lanka is building these things, but we don't have much crypto-related things because of the regulations. But Sri Lanka is building more blockchain-based real-world applications is through of like last 2 to 3 years. So that is pretty much about the session. I hope like you understand like the importance of trust in humans' life and how blockchain is redefining the trust in a perfect way. And because of that redefining the trust, you can see like different aspects of our lives were changing because of the trust redefinement, as well as different use cases are like changing, or different industries are getting changed because of blockchain technology. And thank you everyone for listening to this session. And you can, if you want, you can reach me through LinkedIn, as you can scan this QR code and you can reach me. Uh, and one more like information I can give you, like there's a blockchain symbol. It's a group that is doing free blockchain trainings. So if anyone interested who wants to know more about blockchain, you can join and you can learn blockchain for free through that as well. So thank you guys, and have a great weekend. Yeah, over to one.
Yeah. Okay, so Shamlin, thank you so much. That was a really explanative and also very detailed description about, that's just the brushing on the surface, I suppose, because like blockchain is really, really deep. Can I ask you a small question, because we have a little bit of time left for the Q&A. So for those who are participating, you can definitely shoot your questions right now. You can either raise your hand through Zoom, or you can also project your questions on the chat. So to start with, now you mentioned greatly about, if this is seamless, the technology can be applied anywhere as long as you are concerned about security, about online transactions, cybersecurity, whatever. Especially now, something we are all worried about. We use online transactions a lot, right? Sometimes most of these are automated, but then again, you go somewhere and then you buy something, or you sometimes subscribe to certain services online, and then you don't know what's going to happen, what happens behind the scenes, behind the screen. You just blindly give credit to the company, a bank, and then the bank hopefully takes care of your security as well. But then again, you spoke about the fact that you can totally negate the fact that we have a middleman as well, right, with blockchain. Why is this not, what does it take for a country like Sri Lanka to apply this? Why can't we get this done? What's the resistance right now? Why, at least for the banking system, where we can feel, okay, there's no, there will be no service charges.
You ask about the
right? Yeah, money transaction, like money transaction becomes banking. Yeah, why can't we do that? That'll be really good and smooth and transparent and also cheap. There's no service charge. There's no service cost.
The reason is like it's a government regulations. So the thing is like there are many countries who have already regulated blockchain, and they are allowed people to use blockchain, even India. So you can see like this is India is like regulated cryptocurrencies, so people can buy cryptos and use cryptos. But the thing is, in Sri Lanka, like the government is it's not a written law, but it's just a kind of a ban. It's there, like people can't use cryptocurrencies, but there's no restriction that you can build blockchain applications. That is totally possible as a technology, but you can't use crypto. The only reason is like it's not about like Sri Lanka, but many of the governments were against that in the starting, because as I mentioned, like it's fully anonymity, because you don't need to attach any of your details with that. So you'll be just like, if you are creating a blockchain account, it comes as like ABC123 is your identity. So no one knows who is that. But the problem is like, as you mentioned, like you don't need to pay any commissions, or you don't need to pay any middleman fees and all. You can get this money. But end of the day is for the government is you won't pay taxes, because they can't identify who is this actual person who wants this money. So if I own like millions of dollars or something, no one knows that whether I own this money, but everyone knows that this key owns this much of money. But there's no way that they can get these taxes and all. And the governments will be, as you know, like every government depends on the currency and the banks. So if the central bank is down, then the country can't function. So that's the scary part of the governments, like they don't want to regulate this thing, then people won't use their fiat currency. So simple thing, like if the crypto comes, I won't use like healthcare, right? So you'll be simply moved to the cryptos and you'll be using it because you don't need to carry monies and all. So then eventually like the government currency value will be goes down and then the government will face more issues. So countries like USA and all, like they regulated these things where you can own cryptos, you can do tradings and all, but still you can pay taxes as well. So they made it in that way. But some countries were like, they're totally supporting crypto where you don't need to pay taxes. You can just use your cryptos and do things. And countries like China, where they are building their own cryptocurrencies, as a government, they're building their own cryptocurrency. So they are changing. So they don't want people to use something else, but at the same time, they don't want to be at low as well. So they want to create their own one, so that people will start using that. So it's all depends on the government regulations and things. But as a country, as you said, like it's true, like we can simply move to this and we can use it. So one of the example I can give you is like we have Pygmies and we have Uber Eats and different things. Those are like awesome technologies. But the thing is, like the simple fact is like we are highly rely on that central application, and the shops, every part is a relay. So whatever money that we are paying, that they are taking a commission from the money that need to be go to the shop or need to go to the drivers. So if we simply replace that with the blockchain, then what happens is the three users will be there, only the drivers, shops and us, and the money will be directly go to the drivers and directly go to the shops, and there's no commission fees. So that's where the more transparency and the trust will be built, because we can't do that with any technology because there's no trust. So we won't trust these people. So we need Uber or we need Pygmy. But if you put blockchain, it will totally change. And there are some cab applications in USA where they use blockchain-based cabs. Against like it's kind of a competitor for Ubers and all, but those kind of applications where the fees is very less because the commissions are cut down, and drivers get the whole amount of money. So if you're paying 100 rupees, it's 100 goes to driver. So there's no cuts. So people will like that, but it's depends on like how we apply it.
Okay, I mean, this also like makes me wonder. I mean, when you think about dark web, do you think, I mean, these Bitcoins and all these cryptocurrencies are probably being used right now, I mean, without letting, so that you don't have to expose who you're sending money to, like all these things must be already happening anyway. Another thing, now I saw that, I mean, cryptocurrency is something that's really, I mean, that's emerging. I saw that Bitcoins are really expensive now, and then there are also like Ethereum, like you mentioned, and also do you have, I mean, coming from expert, I just want to get these guys who are listening in and tuning in right now, do you think if someone wants to invest, I mean, looking at it in an investment point of view, do you see any currency, any cryptocurrency, maybe not Bitcoin because it's already way far up, any other currency, at least something that's Sri Lankan based? I heard that there's one, but do you think, I mean, can you recommend one so that we can, pitch our money, buy one?
Yeah, that is a difficult question because because I don't recommend these things to anyone, like because it depends on it's not like depends on their own decisions or something, but then like it will becomes as like like influencing someone to do something like that can comes in a negative as well as in a positive way. So if that coin goes up, people will be happy about me, but if it goes down, they will come and angry about me. So it depends on that. And the other thing is like there's no particular coins like that, but in Sri Lanka, like there are like a couple of cryptocurrencies who are created and all, but it's actually like created based on Sri Lanka, but it's not hosted in Sri Lanka because of the regulations and all, but they are hosted in different countries and running these things. But the success.
So there is one, right?
Yeah, there are a couple of projects are running, and there's a couple of things are coming in next month as well from out of Sri Lanka. So you will be get to know that at that time, but I can't reveal those informations. But the thing is like the success of these crypto coins, it's very simple mechanism that people need to do. Like if anyone who wants to invest on cryptos, you have to just see that what is the project that is behind these cryptos, because each of these coins, it's not like you create a coin and put it, but you have to have a use case to use that coin. So otherwise the people won't use this coin, so then the values won't comes up. So Bitcoin, the purpose is just to money transaction. But the Ethereum purpose is not money transaction, but the purpose is you can host software codes or smart contracts on blockchain as Ethereum, and then for that you have to pay that cost. So because of that use case is strong, the price is going up. And there are other volatility and liquidity and different things over there, but mainly it depends on the use case. So if the use case is failed, then definitely the coin value is going to be failed. So the simple thing people can do it is you can look for the project, and it will take some time. So we have to go through the technical things and all, and understanding whether it's actually doing, because there are so much scams. So that is one of the things I want to mention. It like if you take blockchain or cryptos, like if there are 100 coins for coming tomorrow, at least 85 will be scam. So that's much the scam percentage. And scam, it's very difficult to identify scam because they write nice white papers, like lengthy white papers, and websites will be like properly professional and all. Like it's very difficult to identify this is a scam or a genuine project. And when it comes to genuine projects, going to that and understanding the technical is one aspect. And second thing is you have to see who is behind these things. So there are coins that are coming, like the Vosvos, who is the Wozniakos, who is the co-founder of Apple. So he's the one investing on some coins and projects, and he's building those things. So those kind of things, like you can build, it's again that building a trust. So you can build that trust on that coin because you know that Apple co-founder is not going to be on a scam project. And there are other people like Peter Thiel, who is the co-founder of PayPal and early investor of Facebook, who is funding for some coins. So those things we can simply rely on those things, but it's like it's always like a gambling. So you can't say that okay, this coin will comes up or this coin will goes down. And at the same time, you can't say like when it will comes up and when it will goes down. So you can give some predictions, but it's very volatile because if you take share market, so the actual currencies like dollars or Sri Lankan currency, it's like the supply is too much. So it's very volatile. The volatility is there, but it's very small. But when it comes to crypto, like even Bitcoin, there's only 21 million is supply, and there's only 18 million is already out there. So 18 million is like if a person who owns at least 1,000 Bitcoins who sells that 1,000, then it will be create a huge wave. So it's just, people usually refer it as like if you in the sea, like the fiat currencies or shares are like the tanker ships or the container ships. So whatever the waves comes, it just go up small and it can sail. But crypto is like a small boat. So if the small wave comes, it goes up and down like hell because its volatility is very high. So that is exactly the simplest definition for cryptos and the fiats. Like that's the but it's like interesting thing. Like you don't know what will happens, and it's like a gambling.
And also the fact that, I mean, you don't have to always buy it. You can always mine it, right? I mean, you can use GPUs that have...
you can use minings, but you can't do it now because specifically in Sri Lanka kind of countries, because previously, like in 2010, 11, I can do mining with the laptop I'm using now. And same laptop that you're using also, like you can do minings. But now that people were like, mining comes as more like a gaming process. Who mines first will get the money, and there are millions of people will be compete for that. So only one person can come as a winner. So what happens is like if the one person comes as a winner, you are trying means you are wasting your computation power, which is equal to electricity, and then end of the day you have to pay the money to the electricity board. So people were like try to change to GPU in 2013 and all, and then like now they become creating chips that are specifically for minings. So that's called ASIC chips. And now we can't compete the mining because there are mining farms. So people are not doing individual minings. They are doing as a mining farms at the thousands or like 100% of miners will be there and do it. Yeah. So if we do the mining, the only thing is we can still part of a pool, a mining pool or mining farm, and we can get some coins actually. But the thing is, in Sri Lanka specifically, the electricity bill that you're getting against the money that you're getting from crypto will be like huge difference. So that is the one issue. And mining farms and things are mostly used in countries where they have green electricities, like China or Iceland, Greenland, where they have the green electricities, they try to use it. But in Sri Lanka, it's like not a profitable business unless you have a way to get this electricity for less cost.
Right. Okay. I don't know if it was me or if it was you, because there was a bit of a bit of a disturbance in the chat. So anyway, that's fine. Right. So any questions, guys? If you have any questions, you can definitely type on the chat. It's blank at the moment. You can go ahead. And we have been talking about Bitcoin and also about cryptocurrency, and also which is a part of Bitcoin. Sorry, a part of cryptocurrency, and then also about overall blockchain. So there are many aspects when it comes to health, when it comes to personal security, when it comes to financial security, health, so cyber security, whatever. Anywhere that security matters, there's always a huge opportunity where blockchain can definitely enhance it and also boost it. So if you have questions, we can wait. Otherwise, you can take down his, Sharminen's information, the QR code you can scan. We'll also send you something maybe for those who participated, some information about him, like the link of his LinkedIn profile and Facebook and whatnot. Right. So since there are no more questions coming in, and shall we finish it, Shamil?
Yeah, sure. So
Yeah.
this is just a brief, as because no one can learn blockchain in 1 hour. So it's more like giving an idea and giving kind of some inspiration to go and find something about blockchain. So feel free to reach me, like if you have any questions. So if you want to know more about it, feel free to reach me at any time. And thank you, Varuna, for inviting me for this session. And I hope I shared some valuable information, and it will be
you did definitely,
give some
and thank
people
you so much.
idea to learn blockchain. Yeah.
Of course, yes, and it's really good to like be like someone who can change the path and give some different kind of mindset to those who are in having an interest towards IT and all these security aspects of IT. At the same time, and I know, Sharmin, and also we also know that you were really busy today. You just finished a lecture, because he's also a lecturer at IIT, and that's his lecture at IIT. That's why we picked him. One of the biggest reasons, and also he's an alumni. That's the other reason, as I mentioned. He's also the co-founder and the chief executive officer at Niftron. And he has done 4+ years of experience in decentralized application solution architect and also development, holds an MSc in big data analytics, and also a Bachelor of Engineering, Bachelor of Engineering Software Engineering from the University of Westminster in the UK as well. So he's qualified, and that's what makes him also an expert in the industry, in the field. Okay, Sharmin, thank you so much for joining in, and thank you so much for being a part of this. I mean, we are really grateful. You shared a lot of content. I know that this is like a brush on the surface, but then again, the content you shared will definitely help those who are watching here and also on Facebook to understand the sort of pathway that lies ahead of them if they are interested in big data and blockchain, so that they can go ahead into changing landscapes of IT in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, guys. So those who participated also, thank you very much. And we hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll be bringing you more episodes every other week. So this week we covered blockchain. We'll be coming up with more techie and non-techie subjects and topics in the next weeks. We will be letting you know in the same ways that we let you know about this program through email, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all that. So have a good day and enjoy the rest of your day, and have a good evening as well. Thank you.